Hey, what's going on? This is Sunshine.
And E.
All right.
Hey, everybody, we're back again for some more reaction to true stories that you aren't supposed to know. And this will this is be number 3, so this will be the only one that will be right on point. 3 of 3.
Right. Yeah, because they're counting down and we're counting up in parts, and they're counting down in stories. And this is history, so we did something. Did one? I don't know. That one was our history, but it wasn't about the plutonium on the mountain. That one, that part 1, I guess it can be considered history, but I think the one of Vietnam is more. When you think history, you think of wars, you think of more history. So this one, don't know. We'll see. But we're going to get into it. Before we do me a favor. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Also share, comment below. So come on, let's go.
Number 3.
Excuse me.
The events leading up to June 8, 1967, have been shrouded in secrecy and misinformation for decades. Between the efforts of U.S. and Israeli governments to keep the attack out of the public eye, and conspiracy theories that have been allowed to spiral in the years since, getting to the bottom of what really happened is near impossible today. But with the relatively recent Snowden leaks proving the government is still classifying some aspects of that day as top secret, it's safe to say this embarrassing moment in history is not something we're supposed to know about. It was the 4th day of what would become known as the Six-Day War in the Middle East. The United States had opted to sit out of violence, which was taking place between her ally, Israel, and allies of the Soviet Union in the form of Egypt and Jordan. But the Navy still had ships in the area, in particular the USS Liberty, which was in the eastern Mediterranean off the Gaza Strip. The Liberty was an intelligence ship and had all the latest communication listening technology. Sailors aboard the ship were used to Israeli jets flying overhead. That morning, jets had flown overhead twice, reporting the Liberty's location to command in Tel Aviv. Both times, it was noted to be a friendly ship, but in the late afternoon, the Liberty was removed from the plot table as the Navy operators were no longer certain where the ship was located. At just before 2 in the afternoon, as sailors sunbathed on their lunch hour, jets flew over the Liberty again, but these would not simply return back to base. The attack lasted about half an hour. Planes launched torpedoes and napalm on the American ship, before torpedo boats attacked from the sea. The sailors aboard the Liberty raised the largest American flag that they had, as the one that had originally flown was damaged in the attack. At 2:29 p.m., the attack ended. 34 Americans lost their lives in the attack, while another 171 were injured. Many of the survivors would suffer mental and physical health problems for the rest of their lives. According to the official Israeli statements, the ship had been misidentified as an Egyptian cavalry transport ship. After an extremely short investigation by the US forces, this was accepted, and Israel paid about $12.8 million to the US and the families of the sailors on the ship. However, many doubt it was an accident, and many claim that during the attack, the Liberty was identified as an American vessel by the pilots, but they were ordered to continue with the attack.
Wow. That's the thing about when you get into things of like in war. It's, once you start, it's hard to like just stop it. Even if they realize that, we need not do this. So much damage is caused by people before that you can get to that point. That's what's so devastating. When you make that mistake, start firing on a ship, by the time they go, ceasefire, this is friendly ship or whatever, so much damage and lives could be lost, So that's the rough thing about that. But like he said, there's probably something that it wasn't a mistake, And this is because I think a lot of times those guys that were firing on the ship probably took some kind of vow of silence and not said what the real deal was. And that's what's tough sometimes, because if you're a decent person, you want to be honest, but you just a certain loyalty. I guess you got to
About
the organization, whatever you're part of.
I don't know what to say about this. They thought so. Israel and Egyptian obviously were at war. Yeah. If you mistaken it, how did you mistaken it? I mean, I'm just I'm just unclear as to how or why. Huh?
And then they said I guess they lost the location of the ship, and so when that's the story, I guess they lost location. So when they went, they fired them. But it just seems hard to not know that that's that same one we were passing over that we had no problem with. See, but then when you go back and see, a lot of times technology that we know, what they know is further ahead than what we think we know. So when you date back and go, okay, that's back in 1967. Maybe it's not as advanced or whatever, but that's what you would think. But I just believe
so. So with the 37 lives lost, the 171 that survived but injured. Well, I mean, what happened to the ship? Because there's so much that you can do to a ship. It seems like if you're torpedoing it, did the ship sink?
I don't think
everyone else.
Yeah, I don't.
That's not a submarine, so I'm trying to figure out how did 34 people lose their lives? Were they on a location part of the ship where that was bombed, or
it may.
But why didn't the ship sink? I'm trying to understand.
It's just how they built it that might have been able to survive, but still not be able to defend itself. But they were saying the guys were out there sunbathing, so I think that initial attack is probably the ones that killed those people. And then once they found out what was going on, then they kind of made some other moves, and maybe the other 170. When they say we're injured, a little scar here, a little bruise here, they probably consider all that. But I think maybe I would think that the initial attacks is when they got to those 34. That would be my guess.
Okay, so they paid 12.8, was it?
Yeah.
Million did the families really see that money?
Yeah, and that's the thing. That was a lot of money in 1967. It's a lot of money now. But I mean, when you think about paying, I mean, if it all went to them, it was a good little money going to the family. But to answer your question, finding out the 12.8 million, is that something they found out later on that money was there, and they gave it to them, and then the government said, "Hey, we're going to take care of you. We're going to do whatever." So they didn't know it was 12.8 million at the time. Now it comes out, that's what you paid, and you send me a $500 check, or So I mean,
and then you have damages to their equipment. So
yeah, but
how much did they really pay the family?
Yeah, because I mean that the taxpayers would probably end up paying for whether they had to do something to that ship or just build another one and put it in the fleet. So the taxpayers would end up paying for that, but the actual check that was issued, if you want to say, that's a good question. We needed to see an itemized list on how that money was spent. We would never. That'd be the secret.
Never know.
That's the one, the real secret to find out.
And then now, did you tell the families? Oh, you can't if you pay them off or whatever the government did, or they just said, "Oh, here's a courtesy."
Yeah,
that's what this really came from.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah.
The government's paying, saying I'm paying you, but it really came from. I don't know. Yeah, and I'm not in political stuff like that, but I'm just saying. So I lost my train of thought on that.
They probably kept about 10 million of that, and then the other 2.8 went to them probably. Back in 68, 67, they could get away, and that seemed like big money.
So these stories that aren't supposed to know. No, now we know them. Mm-hmm. So what if, I go back and I'm like, oh, I had a relative on there. So now I know, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going a little bit off.
Yeah, but in those cases, you won't really. They might get an apology, but you probably won't get no more money because that was done. That deal was done, and like you said, I think it might have been more or less of here's some money we blah blah blah. Not saying they gave us some money to give to you or whatever. So I think this is what you got back then is what you got. And time to move on.
Yeah, probably so.
But y'all let us know what y'all think, especially if those people that are really history buffs and kind of know about these things. We'd love to see some comments of what you think and what you known at that time, and give us some insight on that. That'd be good. But all that stuff is really.
Or if you ever heard of this.
Yeah.
There's a couple of these because I haven't heard of stuff is starting to come out in the woodwork.
Yeah, that's the thing over there saying no one's supposed to know. So they made that happen for years and decades. So But y'all.
Speaking of a ship, sorry, didn't mean to cut this off.
No,
I did. My grandfather was on a ship.
Okay.
That was actually torpedoed accidentally by our own people.
Wow.
And the lady, and I might have told this on another video before, but he was actually torpedoed. He actually made a book. The lady who 2 of her children were on this ship and survived. And she wrote a book, and there was a movie. They're different. The book was a little different from the movie, only slightly, because in the movie they had a dog, and they were on this raft for 20 days and 19 nights or something like that, or vice versa, however that goes. But anyway, and then they were rescued. And
so the movie is dog, in the book no dog, or how is it?
Right, in the book she didn't mention anything about a dog.
Oh, okay.
But my grandfather was actually a cook on this particular ship.
Okay.
And his name is in the book. We never did recoup the book, but eventually it was in the library. And I do have copies of it, of the book that we made, physical copies of. Well, my mother did. And I wonder where that family is. I don't remember their name, so I have to find the book that was actually copied. So
6 degrees of separation. That's it, man. Everybody's 6 degrees away from some story all across the world. So we're all connected. Basically, that's what it boils down to. But y'all let us know what you think. We're going to get out of here. But before we do me a favor. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Also share, comment below. And I do believe that's it.
That's it. Thanks for listening to Sunshine and E.